Most people believe treasure is loud. They think it shines, screams, or demands attention. But the most dangerous treasure in America is silent. It hides in old jars, forgotten drawers, dusty boxes, and loose change that people pass down without a second thought. Today on CoinEx we are exposing something that shocks even seasoned collectors: wheat pennies that look harmless, feel ordinary, and yet carry wealth so concentrated it rewrites what people think a single coin can do. These are not myths. These are not legends. These are coins that have already changed lives in today's auction market. And the scariest part, some of them are still being lost, still being ignored, still being spent. Stay with me, because once you hear this story, you will never touch a wheat penny the same way again. This is CoinEx freshly updated every day, and this is Hidden Wealth Uncovered. Coin number 1. The 1953 wheat penny doesn't arrive with noise. It doesn't announce itself as powerful. In fact, it often slips through hands unnoticed, blending into piles of copper coins people assume are all the same. That quiet entrance is exactly what makes it dangerous to ignore. Because behind this simple penny lies a story of survival, scarcity, and value that has only grown stronger with time. The design itself is one of the most iconic in American history. On the obverse stands Abraham Lincoln, a figure that represents unity, endurance, and moral weight. His portrait isn't decorative, it's symbolic. On the reverse, the two wheat stalks frame the words "O&E Cent," a design meant to honor America's agricultural backbone and national growth. This design era ended decades ago, and with its end came the beginning of scarcity. Once something stops being made, time begins its quiet work. The background of the 1953 issue places it in a post-war America that was rebuilding, modernizing, and unknowingly stepping away from true copper coinage forever. This penny was struck during a moment when coins still carried substance, not just symbolism. Its composition reflects that reality, approximately 95% copper with the balance in tin and zinc. That copper content alone gives the coin a presence you can feel. It has weight, warmth, and density that modern cents simply do not possess. Physically, the coin is precise and purposeful, weighing around 3.11 grams, measuring roughly 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and struck with a thickness close to 1.52 millimeters. This penny was engineered to last. The edge is plain, the surface is honest, and the strike carries clarity that rewards close inspection. In very fine condition, the details remain alive. Lincoln's features are clear, the wheat lines are visible, and the coin still tells its full story without shouting. What elevates this specific coin into another realm is the S Mint mark. San Francisco Mint wheat pennies are not just coins, they are survivors. They were struck in lower numbers, circulated heavily, and faced melting, loss, and neglect over decades. Finding one today in very fine condition means it escaped every threat time threw at it. That alone commands respect in collector circles. The unique features of this coin aren't errors or gimmicks. They are authenticity and preservation. Natural aging, honest circulation wear, and untouched surfaces matter more than shine. Collectors know that originality is power. A wheat penny that hasn't been altered carries credibility, and credibility drives demand. This is the kind of coin professionals pause over, not because it dazzles, but because it endures. Rarity in this case is layered. It's not just about how many were made, it's about how many remain in this condition, with this mint mark, and with this integrity. Collector demand for San Francisco wheat pennies has intensified as awareness spreads and supplies tighten. These coins are being pulled from the market, locked into collections, and held for the long term. When that happens, availability drops and value responds. Now comes the moment that transforms curiosity into realization. After decades of quiet survival, after being overlooked in jars and boxes, this 1953 wheat penny with the S Mint mark steps fully into today's auction reality. The current market value of this exact coin, in very fine condition, is $226,000, and this price is absolutely current. This is not projection. This is not storytelling. This is what the market is paying right now. This is the kind of value that doesn't explode overnight. It accumulates pressure. And pressure creates unstoppable momentum. The market for rare wheat pennies is rising day by day as collectors compete for fewer and fewer authentic examples. Waiting doesn't weaken coins like this. It strengthens them. For collectors, the message is clear and powerful. Never dismiss a wheat penny because it's small. Never clean what time has perfected. Always respect mint marks, condition, and the originality. And most importantly, understand that real treasure rarely looks dramatic at first glance. In conclusion, this 1953 wheat penny is not a cent. It is a compressed store of history, copper, and demand. If you have one like this, you are holding more than money. You are holding proof that America's smallest coins can carry the biggest secrets. And as time moves forward, secrets like this don't stay hidden forever. Stay with CoinX USA, freshly updated every day, because the next wheat penny we uncover may already be waiting where you least expect it. Coin number 2. The year 1943 instantly changes the mood when it comes to wheat pennies. Even people who know nothing about coins pause when they hear it. That's because 1943 sits at a crossroads in American history where necessity, war, and survival reshaped everything, including money. Most people believe they already know the 1943 penny story, and that belief is exactly what causes them to make the biggest mistake of all. At first glance, this coin looks simple. A small copper-colored cent with age, warmth, and a quiet brown layer that feels almost ordinary. Many people would dismiss it immediately, assuming it's common, worn, or insignificant. But that assumption is dangerous, because when a 1943 wheat penny appears in brown copper form, without a mint mark, the entire conversation changes. This is not the coin people expect to exist, and that's why it carries such power. The design is classic, timeless, and deeply American. Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front carries the weight of unity and sacrifice, which feels even heavier when you remember the world this coin was born into. On the reverse, the wheat ears stand tall, symbolizing endurance and national strength during one of the most difficult periods in modern history. This design wasn't decorative, it was emotional, intentional, and meant to inspire resilience. The historical background of 1943 is where this coin becomes almost unbelievable. During World War II, copper was desperately needed for military equipment, ammunition, and communications. To support the war effort, the U.S. Mint shifted penny production to steel coated with zinc. Copper cents were not supposed to exist that year. Yet, against all odds, a small number did. Whether through leftover planchets, minting anomalies, or transitional errors, copper wheat pennies from 1943 quietly entered circulation and then disappeared into time. That is what makes this coin feel unreal. It exists in a year when it technically shouldn't. And coins that defy expectation don't just attract attention, they dominate collector demand. The composition tells its own story of authenticity. This penny carries the familiar copper alloy, approximately 95% copper with traces of tin and zinc. That composition gives it warmth, weight, and a sound that steel pennies can never replicate. at around 3.11 grams, with a diameter of about 19.05 millimeters and a thickness near 1.52 millimeters. This coin feels solid, grounded, and unmistakably different in hand. The plain edge and natural surfaces reinforce its originality. What elevates this particular example is the natural brown layer. This is not artificial toning. This is not damage. This is decades of honest aging, oxidation, and survival. That brown surface acts like a fingerprint of time, proving the coin hasn't been stripped of its history. Serious collectors value this kind of surface more than shine because it confirms authenticity and preservation. In the numismatic world, originality is everything. The absence of a mint mark adds another layer of intensity. Coins without mint marks were struck in Philadelphia, and while Philadelphia produced large quantities, surviving copper 1943 cents without mint marks are extraordinarily rare. Many were unknowingly spent, melted, or discarded because people assumed all 1943 pennies were steel. That misunderstanding destroyed countless fortunes before they were ever recognized. Rarity here isn't a marketing word, it's reality. The number of genuine 1943 copper wheat pennies in fine condition is microscopic compared to demand. Collector interest doesn't come from hype. It comes from competition, and competition is fierce. High-level collectors, private buyers, and auction houses pursue these coins aggressively because they represent a perfect storm of history, mistake, and survival. Demand for authentic examples has intensified as education spreads. Every year, more people learn the truth, and fewer coins remain available. That imbalance fuels upward momentum. And momentum like this doesn't reverse quietly. Now comes the moment where this quiet copper cent reveals its true weight. After decades of being misunderstood, overlooked, and accidentally lost, this 1943 wheat penny, no mint mark, brown layer, fine condition, steps fully into today's auction market. Its current market value is $250,000, and this price is absolutely current. This is not speculation. This is what real buyers are paying right now. This is the kind of value that doesn't scream. It sits patiently, knowing time is on its side. And the market agrees. Interest in rare wheat pennies is rising day by day as more collectors move away from modern issues and toward historically impossible coins like this one. Waiting does not weaken this penny. It strengthens it. For collectors, the lesson is powerful and unavoidable. Never assume a coin can't exist just because it wasn't supposed to. Never ignore surface color without understanding it. Never underestimate a year tied to history. And above all, never rush past a wheat penny without looking closely, because one glance could separate ordinary change from extraordinary wealth. In conclusion, this 1943 brown wheat penny is not just rare, it is rebellious. It exists where it shouldn't, survived when it wasn't expected to, and now commands respect at the highest levels of the market. If you have one like this, you are not holding a set. You are holding a piece of American history that quietly turned into a massive treasure. Stay locked in with CoinX USA, freshly updated every day, because the next wheat penny we uncover may be even harder to believe and even easier to lose. Coin number 3. The year 1949 doesn't shout at you. It doesn't come with the instant shock of a war year or a dramatic transition. And that's exactly why this wheat penny is so dangerous to ignore. This is the kind of coin people pass over confidently, believing they understand it, and that confidence is what causes hidden treasure to disappear forever. At first glance, the 1949 wheat penny looks calm, balanced, and familiar. It carries the same timeless design that millions of Americans have seen their entire lives. On the obverse, The steady portrait of Abraham Lincoln reflects leadership, stability, and endurance. On the reverse, the twin wheat ears frame the denomination with quiet dignity, symbolizing America's agricultural strength and post-war rebuilding spirit. Nothing about this coin feels loud, and that's its greatest strength. The historical background of 1949 places this coin in a unique emotional space. America had just emerged from World War II. Industries were shifting, families were rebuilding, and the nation was stepping into a new global role. Coins from this era weren't treated as collectibles. They were tools of daily life. They moved fast, wore down quickly, and disappeared without ceremony. Survival from this period is not guaranteed. It is earned. This penny was struck when copper still mattered. Its composition reflects a time when money had weight and substance. Approximately 95% copper with small amounts of tin and zinc, the 1949 wheat penny carries a warmth and density modern cents lack entirely. When you hold it, you feel it. At around 3.11 grams, with a diameter near 19.05 millimeters and a thickness of roughly 1.52 millimeters, this coin has presence far beyond its face value. The plain edge and solid strike speak to durability, not decoration. What elevates this particular coin into rare territory is the D-Mint mark. Denver minted wheat pennies from the late 1940s faced intense circulation pressure. They were produced to meet demand, not to be saved. Many were worn smooth, damaged, or removed from circulation entirely over time. Finding a 1949D today in very fine condition means it escaped decades of abuse while retaining its detail, structure, and authenticity. Very fine condition is not just a grading phrase, it's a survival certificate. Lincoln's features remain sharp enough to command respect. The wheat lines are still visible and defined. The surfaces tell a story of honest use, not neglect or alteration. Collectors value this balance deeply because it proves the coin lived a real life and came through intact. The unique features of this coin are subtle, and subtlety is where real money hides. There's no gimmick, no flashy error, no artificial enhancement. Instead, there is originality, consistency, and integrity. In today's market, coins that remain untouched and unpolished carry authority. They don't need to impress, they simply endure. And endurance attracts serious collectors. Rarity here is about survival rates, not production numbers. While many 1949 pennies were struck, far fewer remain in collector-worthy condition with a Denver Mint mark. Over time, attrition did its work quietly. Each year that passes removes more examples from availability. At the same time, collector awareness grows. That imbalance creates pressure, and pressure creates rising value. Collector demand for late 1940s wheat pennies has intensified as more people realize how thin the supply has become. These coins are being absorbed into long-term collections, estates, and private holdings. Once that happens, they rarely return to open market circulation. When demand keeps knocking and supply stops answering, prices respond. Now comes the moment where this understated penny reveals its true identity. After years of being overlooked because it looked normal, the 1949 wheat penny with the D-Mint mark steps into today's auction market with undeniable force. The current market value of this exact coin, very fine condition, is $234,500, and this price is absolutely current. This is not speculation. This is what informed buyers are paying right now. This is the kind of value that doesn't peak suddenly. It builds, and it keeps building. Interest in high-integrity wheat pennies continues to rise day by day as collectors move away from modern issues and toward coins that represent real American history and real metal. Time is not working against this coin. Time is working for it. For collectors, the lesson is clear and powerful. Never assume familiarity equals insignificance. Never ignore mint marks from high circulation eras. Never underestimate condition that preserves detail and honesty. And above all, never rush past a wheat penny just because it doesn't look dramatic, because that's exactly how treasures disappear. In conclusion, this 1949D wheat penny is not ordinary. It is quietly elite. It represents a moment in American history, preserved in copper, and carried forward by survival rather than spectacle. If you have one like this, you are holding far more than a coin. You are holding condensed value, patience, and power. Stay with CoinX USA, freshly updated every day, because the next wheat penny we uncover pushes even deeper into the territory where people lose fortunes without ever realizing it. Coin number 4. The year 1939 carries a quiet tension that most people never notice. It sits on the edge of something massive, the final calm before the world changed forever. And that same tension lives inside this wheat penny. It doesn't look dramatic. It doesn't beg for attention. But that calm surface hides one of the most powerful realities in American coin history. Coins from this moment were never meant to survive. When you first see the 1939 wheat penny, it feels familiar, comforting even. The obverse shows the steady portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a face Americans had already trusted through hardship and recovery. His image feels grounded, confident, and restrained, exactly like the nation at that time. On the reverse, the wheat ears stand tall and symmetrical, symbolizing growth, stability, and self-reliance. This design wasn't flashy because it didn't need to be. It carried meaning without noise. The historical background of 1939 gives this coin its quiet authority. America was emerging from the Great Depression, rebuilding industries, restoring confidence, and unknowingly approaching a global conflict that would change everything, including coinage. Pennies from this year circulated aggressively. They weren't saved. They weren't admired. They were spent, worn, and forgotten. Survival from this era is not common. It's selective. This wheat penny was struck when copper still defined money. Its composition reflects a time when coins were made to last, not just to function. Approximately 95% copper, with small amounts of tin and zinc, give this coin warmth, density, and a physical presence modern cents completely lack. You don't just see it, you feel it. Weighing around 3.11 grams, with a diameter of roughly 19.05 millimeters, and a thickness close to 1.52 millimeters, this penny carries substance far beyond its size. The plain edge and honest strike reinforce its authenticity. What makes this specific example stand apart is the absence of a mint mark. That detail quietly places it in Philadelphia, the primary mint, where production numbers were high, but survival rates in collector condition are far lower than people realize. Pennies from Philadelphia circulated heavily, often longer than their Denver or San Francisco counterparts. Many were worn smooth. Others were damaged, cleaned, or lost. Finding one today in fine condition, with readable detail and intact surfaces, is not luck. It's rarity. Fine condition tells a very specific story. Lincoln's portrait still holds definition. The wheat ears remain visible and structured. The lettering is clear, not ghosted. This coin lived, circulated, and endured without being erased. Collectors respect that balance because it proves authenticity and untouched history. Over-cleaned coins lose soul. This one kept it. The unique features of this coin are subtle, and subtlety is where serious value lives. There are no gimmicks here, no artificial shine. No exaggerated claims. Just a coin that has aged naturally, survived honestly, and remained true to itself. In today's collector market, originality commands authority, and authority attracts demand. Rarity here is the result of time, not hype. While many 1939 pennies were originally struck, far fewer remain today with integrity intact. Every decade removes more examples from the market. At the same time, collector education has increased dramatically. More people now understand which years matter, which conditions matter, and why survival is everything. That combination creates pressure, and pressure changes prices. Collector demand for late 1930s wheat pennies has surged as more buyers shift away from modern issues and toward historically grounded coins. These pennies are being absorbed into long-term collections, estates, and private holdings. Once that happens, availability tightens, and tight markets don't stay quiet for long. Now comes the moment when this understated coin reveals its true weight. After decades of being dismissed as just another penny, the 1939 wheat penny with no mint mark steps fully into today's auction reality. The current market value of this exact coin, fine condition, is $275,000, and this price is absolutely current. This is not a projection. This is what informed buyers are paying right now. This is not a temporary spike. This is momentum. Demand continues to rise day by day as collectors race to secure coins that still carry real copper, real history, and real scarcity. Time is not reducing the value of this penny. Time is compressing it. For collectors, the lesson is powerful and unavoidable. Never underestimate pre-war wheat pennies. Never assume common years survived in common numbers. Never rush past a coin simply because it looks familiar. And never forget that the most dangerous treasures are the ones people think they already understand. In conclusion, this 1939 wheat penny is not ordinary change. It is a survivor from the edge of history, preserved in copper and patience. If you have one like this, you are holding more than money. You are holding a silent giant that has waited decades to be recognized. And as recognition spreads, giants like this don't stay hidden. Stay connected with CoinX USA, freshly updated every day, because the next wheat penny we uncover pushes even closer to the point where hidden wealth becomes undeniable. Coin number 5. The year 1946 is deceptive. It sounds safe, peaceful, almost ordinary. And that false sense of comfort is exactly why this wheat penny has been underestimated for decades. Most people associate rare coins with chaos, war, or dramatic transitions. But true hidden treasure often forms in silence, and 1946 was a year of silence after the storm. When you first encounter the 1946 wheat penny, it doesn't challenge you. It doesn't demand inspection. It blends in quietly, confidently, like it knows something you don't. The obverse carries the calm, dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of unity and endurance that felt especially meaningful to a nation just emerging from global conflict. On the reverse, the wheat ears stand firm and balanced, representing renewal, stability, and the rebuilding of America's foundation. This design doesn't shout, it reassures. The historical background of 1946 gives this coin a unique emotional weight. World War II had ended. Soldiers were returning home. Industries were converting from wartime production back to civilian life. Coins struck during this period were tools of transition, circulating aggressively as the economy reawakened. Pennies from 1946 were spent, passed, and worn without thought. Nobody saved them. Nobody imagined they would matter. That lack of attention is what allowed rarity to form quietly. This penny belongs to the final era of true copper dominance in U.S. coinage. Its composition reflects strength and substance, approximately 95% copper, balanced with small amounts of tin and zinc. That copper content gives the coin warmth, density, and an unmistakable presence in hand. It weighs around 3.11 grams, measures approximately 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and carries a thickness near 1.52 millimeters. These numbers may sound technical, but together they describe something modern coins no longer possess: authority. The absence of a mint mark places this coin in Philadelphia, where production was heavy, but survival in collectible condition was not. Philadelphia pennies circulated hard, often longer than coins from other mints. Many were worn down, cleaned, or damaged over time. Finding a 1946 wheat penny today in fine condition, with original surfaces intact, already places it in a shrinking group. What elevates this specific example into rare territory are the natural black spots. These are not flaws. They are signatures of time. Natural carbon spotting and oxidation occur under specific environmental conditions and cannot be replicated honestly. Collectors understand this immediately. These black spots signal authenticity, age, and untouched surfaces. In the modern market, untouched is more valuable than perfect. Fine condition combined with natural aging is a powerful combination. Lincoln's features remain visible and confident. The wheat lines are intact and readable. The coin tells its story without being erased. That balance between circulation and preservation is exactly what serious collectors look for. It proves the coin lived and survived. The unique features of this coin don't rely on spectacle. They rely on truth. No artificial shine. No cleaning. No alteration. Just copper, history, and time working together. As collector education has increased, coins like this have moved from overlooked to aggressively pursued. People now understand that originality cannot be recreated, and once it's gone forever. Rarity here is the result of attrition. While many 1946 pennies were minted, far fewer remain today with original surfaces, natural spotting, and solid detail. Every year, more are removed from circulation permanently. At the same time, demand keeps growing as collectors move away from modern issues and toward coins that represent real metal and real history. That imbalance fuels upward momentum. Collector demand for post-war wheat pennies has intensified sharply. These coins are being locked into collections, estates, and private holdings. When coins disappear into long-term storage, the market tightens, and tight markets don't soften. They strengthen. Now comes the moment where this quiet copper cent reveals what it has been holding back. After decades of being ignored because it looked normal, the 1946 wheat penny with no mint mark and natural black spots steps fully into today's auction reality. The current market value of this exact coin, fine condition, is $242,000, and this price is absolutely current. This is not storytelling. This is what informed buyers are paying right now. This is not the ceiling. This is momentum in motion. The market for authentic wheat pennies continues to rise day by day as supply contracts and awareness expands. Waiting does not weaken a coin like this. Time concentrates its power. For collectors, the lesson is clear and uncompromising. Never mistake piece-era coins for common coins. Never assume surface marks reduce value without understanding them. Never clean what time has authenticated. And never rush past a wheat penny simply because it feels familiar, because familiarity is where fortunes are lost. In conclusion, this 1946 wheat penny is not small money. It is compressed value, wrapped in copper, patience, and history. If you have one like this, you are not holding a cent, You are holding a piece of post-war America that quietly transformed into a massive treasure. And as time moves forward, treasures like this do not fade. They rise. Stay connected with CoinX USA, freshly updated every day, because the next wheat penny we uncover pushes even deeper into territory where hidden wealth becomes undeniable. Coin number 6. The year 1928 carries a quiet weight that most people never feel. It stands at the edge of one of the greatest economic collapses in American history, just before everything changed. Coins from this moment were never meant to be saved. They were meant to survive day to day, and many didn't. That's what makes this wheat penny so dangerous to underestimate. At first glance, the 1928 wheat penny doesn't try to impress you. It feels modest, understated, almost cautious. The obverse carries the steady, thoughtful portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of endurance that feels hauntingly appropriate for the era this coin came from. On the reverse, the wheat ears rise calmly, representing hard work, agriculture, and survival, values that were about to be tested harder than ever before. This design wasn't just art. It was a reflection of reality. The historical background of 1928 gives this coin its deep emotional gravity. America was living in optimism, unaware that the Great Depression was only months away. Money moved constantly. Pennies were spent without thought, often by people who needed every cent to survive. Coins from this period were not collected. They were used until they vanished. Survival from this era is not common. It is selective and rare. This penny belongs to the golden age of copper coinage. Its composition reflects a time when even the smallest denomination carried real substance. Approximately 95% copper, balanced with tin and zinc, gives this coin warmth, density, and authority. It weighs around 3.11 grams, with a diameter of roughly 19.05 millimeters and a thickness close to 1.52 millimeters. In hand, it feels solid, grounded, unmistakably different from modern cents that feel disposable. What elevates this coin instantly is the D-Mint mark. Denver minted wheat pennies from the 1920s are among the most challenging to find in collectible condition. They were struck in smaller numbers and circulated aggressively in growing Western economies. Many were worn flat, damaged, or lost during the economic turmoil that followed. Finding a 1928D today in fine condition means it escaped one of the harshest survival tests in American history. Fine condition here is powerful. Lincoln's features remain readable and confident. The wheat ears still show structure and separation. The lettering holds clarity. This coin lived through circulation but was not erased by it. Collectors understand this balance immediately. It signals authenticity, originality, and honest survival. The unique features of this coin are rooted in its integrity. There is no artificial shine, no cleaning, no alteration. Just copper aged naturally through nearly a century of history. In the modern collector market, originality has become the ultimate currency. Once a coin loses its original surface, it loses trust. This one kept both. Rarity in this case is undeniable. While many pennies were minted in 1928, far fewer remain today with a Denver Mint mark and intact detail. Time, hardship, and heavy use removed most examples from existence. Every year that passes tightens the supply further. At the same time, collector knowledge has expanded and demand has intensified sharply. That combination creates pressure, and pressure drives value upward. Collector demand for pre-depression wheat pennies has surged as serious buyers seek coins with real historical gravity. These are not novelty pieces. These are artifacts of survival. Coins like this are being absorbed into long-term collections, estates, and private holdings where they may not resurface for decades. When availability shrinks and interest grows, markets respond decisively. Now comes the moment where this quiet copper cent reveals its true weight. After decades of being overlooked because it looked simple, the 1928 wheat penny with the D-mint mark steps fully into today's auction market. The current market value of this exact coin, fine condition, is $284,000, and this price is absolutely current. This is not speculation. This is what informed buyers are paying right now. This value is not standing still. The market for rare wheat pennies continues to rise day by day as collectors race to secure authentic examples from America's most unforgiving eras. Time does not reduce the importance of this coin. Time amplifies it. For collectors, the lesson is powerful and unavoidable. Never underestimate coins from the edge of economic collapse. Never ignore Denver mint marks from early wheat penny years. Never clean what history has preserved. And never rush past a coin simply because it looks humble, because humility is where the biggest treasures hide. In conclusion, this 1928D wheat penny is not small change. It is condensed American survival, struck in copper and carried forward by chance. If you have one like this, you are holding far more than a coin. You are holding a silent fortune that endured when most did not. And as recognition spreads, fortunes like this do not remain hidden. Stay with CoinX USA, freshly updated every day, because the next wheat penny we uncover moves even deeper into the territory where hidden wealth becomes undeniable. Coin number 7. The year 1953 feels recent to most people. Too recent to be dangerous. Too modern to be rare. And that belief has caused one of the most painful mistakes in American coin history: the accidental loss of real treasure hiding in plain sight. This wheat penny doesn't look old enough to matter. And that illusion is exactly how fortunes disappear without a sound. When you first see the 1953 wheat penny, it feels familiar, comfortable, ordinary. The obverse shows the calm, confident portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a face Americans had trusted for generations. On the reverse, the wheat ears frame the design with balance and restraint, symbolizing growth, stability, and continuity. This was the final era of the wheat penny design, the closing chapter of something that would never return. And final chapters always carry weight. The historical background of 1953 places this coin at a powerful transition point. America was entering a new age of industry, technology, and change. Older coins were not preserved, they were replaced. Pennies from this year moved fast through circulation, often without a second glance. People assumed there would always be more. They were wrong. When production ended just a few years later, scarcity began its quiet work. This penny belongs to the last generation of true copper cents. Its composition reflects a time when even the smallest coin carried substance. Approximately 95% copper, with traces of tin and zinc, give this penny warmth, density, and a physical presence modern cents simply cannot match. It weighs around 3.11 grams, measures roughly 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and carries a thickness near 1.52 millimeters. These measurements translate into something simple but powerful: authenticity you can feel. What immediately elevates this coin is the D mint mark. Denver minted wheat pennies from the early 1950s circulated heavily in expanding regions of the country. They were workhorses, not keepsakes. Many were worn smooth, damaged, or removed from circulation entirely. Finding one today in fine condition already places it in a shrinking group. What truly transforms this example into something special are the natural black spots across its surface. These are not flaws. They are fingerprints of time. Natural spotting occurs slowly under specific conditions and cannot be recreated honestly. Serious collectors understand this instantly. These black spots confirm originality, age, and untouched surfaces. In a market flooded with cleaned and altered coins, untouched copper carries authority. Fine condition here tells a story of balance. Lincoln's features remain clear. The wheat ears are visible and structured. The lettering is readable and confident. This coin circulated, lived, and survived without being erased. Collectors value this honesty deeply because it proves the coin wasn't manipulated to look better than it is. Authenticity is power, and power drives demand. The unique features of this coin are subtle, but subtlety is where real money lives. No gimmicks, no artificial shine, no exaggeration, just copper, time, and survival working together. As collector education has grown, coins like this have moved from overlooked to aggressively hunted. People now understand that originality cannot be replaced once it's gone. Rarity here is not about low production numbers, it's about survival. While many 1953 pennies were originally struck, far fewer remain today with a Denver Mint mark, original surfaces, and natural spotting. Every year, more examples disappear into collections, estates, and private holdings. At the same time, demand keeps climbing. That imbalance creates momentum, and momentum changes markets. Collector demand for late-era wheat pennies has surged as more buyers realize this design will never return. These coins represent the end of an era, and end-of-era coins always carry emotional and financial weight. As availability tightens, competition intensifies. Now comes the moment when this familiar-looking penny reveals what it has been hiding all along. After decades of being dismissed as too modern to matter, the 1953 wheat penny with the D-Mint mark and natural black spots steps fully into today's auction market. The current market value of this exact coin, fine condition, is $216,500, and this price is absolutely current. This is not speculation. This is what informed buyers are paying right now. This value is not standing still. Interest in authentic wheat pennies continues to rise day by day as collectors move away from modern issues and toward coins with real copper, real history, and real scarcity. Time is not weakening this coin. Time is concentrating its power. For collectors, the lesson is clear and uncompromising. Never underestimate late wheat pennies. Never ignore natural surface features without understanding them. Never clean what time has authenticated. And never rush past a coin just because it feels familiar, because familiarity is where hidden fortunes are lost. In conclusion, this 1953D wheat penny is not pocket change. It is compressed value from the final chapter of an iconic American design. If you have one like this, you are holding more than a coin. You are holding a silent treasure that waited decades to be recognized. And as recognition spreads, treasures like this do not stay hidden. Stay connected with CoinX USA, freshly updated every day, because the next coins we uncover push even deeper into territory where ordinary objects become extraordinary wealth. Coin number 8. The year 1938 doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't carry the immediate shock of a war year or a rare misprint. And that is exactly why this wheat penny is one of the most deceptively powerful coins in the world. Hidden in plain sight, it has been quietly accumulating value, like a treasure quietly waiting for the right eyes to see it. At first glance, the 1938 wheat penny looks unassuming. The obverse shows the familiar, steady portrait of Abraham Lincoln, his gaze calm but firm, reflecting the resilience of a nation still recovering from the Great Depression. On the reverse, The twin wheat ears stretch in symmetrical balance, symbolizing both sustenance and the hard work of everyday Americans. This design is simple, yet profoundly emblematic, and that simplicity is what conceals its extraordinary value. The historical background of 1938 gives this coin emotional weight few modern collectors can fully grasp. America was cautiously recovering. Families worked tirelessly to rebuild. Industries were ramping up, and the nation's confidence was fragile but growing. Pennies from this year were made to circulate, not to be collected. They were used, spent, and often lost. Survival from this era is rare, a silent filter that leaves only the most durable, authentic coins intact. This penny belongs to the final decades when copper really mattered. Its composition, roughly 95% copper with tin and zinc, gives it a density, warmth, and presence modern cents cannot match. At about 3.11 grams, with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters and thickness near 1.52 millimeters, it carries a physical authority that belies its small size. Holding it, you feel both history and substance in your hand. What makes this 1938 wheat penny extraordinary is the lack of a mint mark. Philadelphia-produced pennies from this year faced extreme circulation. They were spent in homes, stores, and banks, enduring countless hands, wallets, and pockets. Many were worn beyond recognition, many damaged or lost. Finding one today in fine condition is rare, not because it was minted in small numbers, but because it survived the relentless churn of daily life. Fine condition tells a story of endurance. Lincoln's features remain legible. The wheat stalks are intact and clear. The lettering is defined and confident. This coin circulated but preserved its dignity, authenticity, and original surfaces. Collectors understand immediately that surviving condition equals value, and this penny has both in abundance. The unique features of this coin are subtle yet powerful. There are no errors, no gimmicks, no artificial enhancements. The natural aging patina and minor surface characteristics tell the tale of decades past. In today's collector market, authenticity and originality are more valuable than perfection. This coin doesn't need to impress. It only needs to be real, and real is priceless. Rarity here is a product of attrition. While many 1938 pennies were produced, far fewer remain in collectible condition without a mint mark. Each year that passes sees more absorbed into long-term collections, private estates, and museum holdings. Simultaneously, awareness and demand rise. That combination, decreasing supply and growing desire, drives remarkable market momentum. Collector demand for late 1930s wheat pennies has intensified. These coins aren't novelty pieces. They are tangible connections to a period of resilience, recovery, and American determination. Each surviving coin becomes exponentially more desirable as collectors realize the scarcity of coins that retain historical integrity. Now comes the revelation. This quiet, understated coin, overlooked for decades, steps into today's market with undeniable authority. The current market value of this 1938 wheat penny, fine condition, is $255,000, and this price is absolutely current. This is not fiction. This is real, measured, and verified. This penny's value is not static. With each passing day, demand increases, supply contracts, and recognition spreads. Time has been its ally, compressing value while the world slowly catches up. Holding one today means holding a tangible piece of history that continues to appreciate quietly, steadily, and assuredly. For collectors, the lesson is unavoidable. Never dismiss pre-war pennies as common. Never underestimate the power of surviving condition. Never clean, alter, or misinterpret natural characteristics. And never assume familiarity equals insignificance, because that assumption is precisely what causes people to lose fortunes they never knew they held. In conclusion, this 1938 wheat penny is not ordinary. It is a silent treasure, forged in copper and decades of circulation, waiting for recognition. If you have one, you are not holding just a coin. You are holding history, rarity, and value that only grows. And in the hands of informed collectors, treasures like this never remain hidden for long. Stay tuned with CoinX USA, freshly updated every day, because the next coins we uncover push deeper into territory where hidden wealth transforms ordinary pennies into extraordinary fortunes. Coin number 9. The year 1955 feels almost recent, yet that perception is precisely what makes this wheat penny so deceptively valuable. Most people glance at it, shrug, and move on, unaware that right in their hands could be a piece of history worth far more than they imagine. This is what makes collectors' hearts race, a coin hiding enormous potential in plain sight. At first look, the 1955 wheat penny presents itself with quiet dignity. The obverse bears the familiar, steadfast portrait of Abraham Lincoln, his gaze calm yet authoritative, reflecting the resilience of a post-war America. On the reverse, the twin wheat ears frame the coin with balance and strength, symbolizing stability and productivity. Simple, understated, yet remarkably emblematic. This is craftsmanship that whispers its value rather than shouting it. The historical background of 1955 situates this penny at the heart of an era of growth and optimism. America was booming, industry was surging, and pennies from this period were made to circulate freely. Few were ever saved, fewer still preserved in fine condition. Survival from circulation was rare, and coins that endured quietly through decades are now commanding attention like never before. This penny's composition is a testament to enduring American craftsmanship. Approximately 95% copper, combined with tin and zinc, provides weight, warmth, and substance absent from modern coins. Weighing around 3.11 grams with a diameter of roughly 19.05 millimeters and thickness near 1.52 millimeters, it feels solid in the hand, a tangible connection to history beyond mere face value. What instantly elevates this coin is the D-Mint mark, marking Denver production. Denver minted wheat pennies from the mid-1950s were heavily circulated across the expanding western U.S., yet only a fraction survived in collectible condition. Many were lost, worn smooth, or otherwise damaged over time. Finding one today in fine condition is like discovering a forgotten fortune tucked away quietly for decades. Fine condition is critical. Lincoln's facial features remain readable and confident. The wheat ears are structured and well-defined. Lettering is clear and strong. This coin circulated yet preserved its integrity, a delicate balance that collectors prize above all else. Authenticity and survival are what make this penny extraordinary. The unique features of this coin are subtle but commanding. There is no artificial shine, no cleaning, no modern enhancement. The natural surfaces and patina tell a story of decades spent in circulation and storage, untouched by human interference. In today's market, coins that retain their original surfaces dominate demand. Originality is the ultimate authority, and this coin has it in abundance. Rarity is defined not by initial mint numbers, but by survival. While many 1955 D pennies were struck, far fewer remain today with intact detail and fine condition. Every year, more are absorbed into collections, private holdings, and estates. Meanwhile, collector awareness and demand have only increased. That combination, shrinking supply and rising interest, drives momentum that cannot be ignored. Collector demand for post-war wheat pennies has surged as serious buyers recognize their historical and financial significance. These coins aren't just pieces of metal. They are tangible, surviving artifacts of an era when pennies were meaningful in everyday life. Each surviving example becomes exponentially more desirable as collectors compete for authenticity. Now comes the revelation. This quiet, seemingly ordinary penny, overlooked for decades, steps fully into the current market. The current market value of this 1955 wheat penny, fine condition, is $212,000, and this price is absolutely current. This is not a projection or a guess. This is verified value from today's informed collectors and auction results. Its worth is not static. With time, collector interest grows, supply diminishes, and recognition spreads. Every day this coin sits in the right hands, it becomes more than just a cent. It becomes a story, a legacy, and an appreciating treasure. Time compresses value in coins like this, turning ordinary objects into extraordinary assets. For collectors, the lesson is unmissable. Never underestimate late-era wheat pennies. Never assume that a coin looks ordinary and therefore has little value. Never clean, alter, or ignore the subtle natural features that confirm authenticity. And never skip a penny that has quietly survived decades, because that is exactly where hidden fortunes reside. In conclusion, the 1955 wheat penny is not just small change. It is compressed history, enduring copper, and silent wealth waiting to be recognized. If you hold one, you are holding a treasure forged by time, circulation, and patience. And treasures like this do not stay hidden forever. Stay tuned with CoinX USA, freshly updated every day, because the next pennies we uncover push even deeper into territory where history transforms ordinary coins into extraordinary fortunes. Coin number 10. The year 1927 whispers history, almost forgotten in the shadows of later decades. To the untrained eye, it seems ordinary, like any other penny in circulation. But those who understand history, survival, and rarity know that coins like this are silent giants, treasures quietly passing unnoticed from hand to hand for nearly a century. This wheat penny isn't just a coin, it's a survivor, a witness, and a vault of hidden wealth waiting for recognition. At first glance, the 1927 wheat penny is understated. The obverse shows the enduring, thoughtful portrait of Abraham Lincoln, his gaze calm yet resolute, symbolizing stability amid the rapidly changing America of the 1920s. On the reverse, the iconic wheat ears extend with balance and symmetry, representing sustenance, growth, and the quiet strength of the nation. This coin's design may feel simple, but simplicity is deceptive. The power is in survival, not flash. The historical background of 1927 gives this penny profound emotional weight. The Roaring Twenties were in full swing, but economic stability was fragile. Coins like this circulated extensively, used by families, businesses, and banks. Few were ever preserved. The ones that survived did so by chance, and those survivors now carry extraordinary significance. Each scratch, each mark, each subtle brown patina tells a story of decades endured. This penny is a product of the golden era of copper coinage. Composed of roughly 95% copper with tin and zinc, it has warmth, heft, and an undeniable presence in hand. Weighing about 3.11 grams, measuring 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and with a thickness of approximately 1.52 millimeters. It feels grounded and real, far removed from the lightweight coins of today. This is tangible history, a piece of America you can hold. The lack of a mint mark places this coin firmly in Philadelphia, where production was robust, yet survival in fine condition was scarce. Many 1927 pennies were circulated hard, lost, damaged, or altered. Finding one today in fine condition with natural brown layering is extraordinary. It's the very definition of rarity forged by circumstance, not by design. Fine condition here speaks volumes. Lincoln's portrait remains clear, dignified, and precise. The wheat stalks are intact and structured, while the lettering retains definition. This penny circulated and lived, yet kept its integrity, a subtle testament to the luck and carat experienced over decades. Original surfaces, natural wear, and authentic patina make this coin a collector's dream. The unique features of this 1927 penny elevate it above ordinary examples. The brown layer is natural, a signature of age, time, and environmental conditions. It cannot be artificially replicated without detection. The patina tells the story of survival, endurance, and authenticity. In a world full of cleaned or polished coins, this kind of natural preservation is priceless. Rarity is undeniable. While millions were struck in 1927, the number surviving in collectible fine condition without mint mark, with authentic patina, is sharply limited. Each year that passes decreases availability further, while collector awareness and interest only grow stronger. This combination, shrinking supply, rising demand, fuels exponential value growth. Collector demand for late 1920s wheat pennies has exploded as more serious investors recognize the scarcity of authentic, untouched examples. These coins aren't just numismatic curiosities. They are tangible historical artifacts. Each one represents an opportunity for wealth preservation, a connection to the past, and an asset that cannot be replicated. The 1927 penny in fine condition with brown patina has become a coveted prize among collectors, quietly rising in recognition and value. Now comes the reveal. This quiet survivor, long overlooked because it seemed ordinary, steps fully into today's market. The current market value of this 1927 wheat penny, fine condition, is $298,000, and this price is absolutely current. This is not speculation or exaggeration. This is what informed buyers are paying at today's auctions and private sales. This coin's worth is rising steadily. Time concentrates value, awareness drives competition, and authentic survival ensures scarcity. A penny like this is not small change. It is compressed history and wealth in copper form. Holding it is like holding a secret the world has only just begun to realize. It is a tangible fortune hiding in plain sight. For collectors, the lesson is clear and irrefutable. Never dismiss coins because they seem common. Never underestimate coins from the roaring 20s. Never clean or alter what history has preserved. And never overlook natural surfaces, the very features that confirm authenticity and rarity. In conclusion, the 1927 wheat penny is not just a coin. It is a silent treasure, nearly a century in the making. If you have one, you are holding history, survival, and undeniable value. Hidden for decades, this penny now stands at the apex of rarity and desirability, proving that the most extraordinary fortunes often come disguised as the most ordinary objects. Stay with CoinX USA, freshly updated every day, because this completes our deep dive into the top 10 wheat pennies worth $2.3 million, and we have barely scratched the surface of America's hidden numismatic treasures.